and good afternoon, everybody. It's March 27th, 2021, just past 2 p.m. And welcome to skyDeck Studios. We're up here for the next hour. We got my neighbor Dale coming on like we did last Saturday. It's coming up to say hello. We're going to bring to you a COVID report, so stay tuned for that. 6 degrees in Bloorcourt right now. Gray skies, as you can see just behind. So we're going to be right back at you with the latest episode of My Neighbor Dale. Stay tuned. And we'll be back in a few minutes' time. Great to see you today, guys. No doubt about it.
That would definitely be an attribute.
Being able to remember the name of your students.
Yeah, you got what? You got 30 in those days. It was 30 in a class, and you might have maybe what, 5 classes? At least 5 classes a day.
150 students
so
right
150
there.
150 students a semester. You got to remember their names.
That's significant.
Glad I never became a teacher.
The one benefit is, for me in middle school, we had 3 years at the same school. High school was 4 or 5, depending.
Middle school, 6, 7, and 8, or 7, 8, and 9. Which was it?
6, 7, and 8 for us.
Yeah.
That was in the old Etobicoke
Right.
Board of Education.
Right.
How about you? 7,
North
8,
York
9?
was 7, 8, and 9, but I never went through it. They just started when I got to grade 10.
You heathens in Downsview.
Emory Collegiate.
We're back with another episode of My Neighbor Dale. We're sitting here right now. You want to do a cheers? You want
Cheers,
to?
buddy.
Let's raise a glass,
See you
buddy.
again.
Great to see you, pal. To the hood. So what are we saying today, pal?
Another COVID report.
We're doing another COVID.
I think it's important.
Do you think it's important? Well, take it away.
It's the existential issue of the day.
Is that right? Well,
so we seem to be losing ground to the coronavirus.
So
the dominance of the variants.
Well, first of all, do we have any good news this week?
No good news.
All bad news.
Well, good news, I guess. If you want to go out and drink on a patio, you can do that. So that's good news, I guess.
Okay, so what are we noticing now that the patios opened last Saturday? How have case counts been this week?
Terrible. The case counts are back to where they were in late January. Yesterday in Ontario, 22,453. And in Toronto, about 814. At the worst, in January, we were getting about 900 cases a day. We went down to about 350 just a month ago, and now we're back up to 814.
So I'm looking at newly reported since yesterday in the city of Toronto, 741. That's the case count. Confirmed cases.
That's the day before yesterday. Yesterday's new count today, 814.
So they already know. So already today on Saturday, 814, or that's yesterday?
They've got to count. 814 Toronto, 2453, whatever, however they define it, either today or yesterday.
So right now we've got 5,951 active cases. But yeah, go on, kick it off.
Well, the most significant thing is they're now having to take patients out of the ICUs in Toronto and take them to hospitals in other regions because the ICU units are full.
Okay, so where are they taking them to, and how are they getting them there?
Ambulances.
So one patient per ambulance, more or less.
Yeah, but plus a team. They usually have a team.
Do you know what effect that's having on emergency response in Toronto, as far as ambulance goes?
It creates more risk. There's more risk for the crew, and when you take a person that's
sure they could get it, but how about shortages? How about shortages of ambulances answering to emergency calls?
No, I haven't heard that. But there is increased danger for the ambulance crews.
Oh, absolutely.
But the point is, the case counts are too high, and they're now straining the hospital capacity. And in terms of the lockdown, it's all going the other way. The lockdowns are being lifted. Significant steps are being taken each day to lift the lockdown. We now got outdoor dining, or as we like to say in our neighborhood, outdoor drinking. Even though it's too cold for the most part to do that. They're opening up the hair salons in a couple weeks.
Yep.
They've got outdoor gyms now, fitness classes. And a lot of the health professionals in the business think they're just going too fast.
Sure. So, what do you say as far as commenting on outdoor dining goes? It seemed last summer indicated that might not be a risk as case counts went down, but all patios opened. It was part of Cafe TO.
Well, they obviously thought it was a risk because they closed it down at the end of November.
Sure.
And
what were they closing down end of November? That was because people weren't so much on patios anymore. They were going inside these establishments.
They closed down indoor dining in the middle of November, and then they closed down outdoor dining at the end of November.
Sure. Well, the
And,
proof's in the
so
pudding. We're already 1 week into it. We should. Do you think
Well,
that?
it's too cold anyways. I mean, the point I'm making is what's the rush? I mean, it's too cold to do it to sit out in patios now.
Yep. A lot of pressure from business
Going down to
owners.
5 tonight.
A lot of pressure from business owners, perhaps,
Well,
or
I'm sure the restaurant owners are a huge and effective lobby group. They're obviously got to Ford and to the mayor,
Sure.
Tory.
So getting back to what you said about having to take sufferers of COVID to regional hospitals outside of Toronto, what do you say to those people who say, I know the allegation is made that what COVID is actually doing, it's causing a strain on our emergency healthcare services, right? Cheers, by the way. What do you say to those people who say there's no such strain going on? They've spoken to healthcare professionals and there's not many people in, well, they say emergency rooms. I think emergency rooms is a false thing to look at because the people are up in the ICUs. So what do you say to those people who say that the ICUs aren't overrun?
I'm going with the professionals. I'm going with the advice of the healthcare professionals.
Yep.
And
because you need to have evidence to back up these claims, right?
I think there's a lot of, misinformation out there from the politicians and from some of the healthcare professionals. I'm not saying they're all perfect, but in general, they're the ones sounding the alarm now about the variants. Mm-hmm. And you should know that the variants are more deadly. They result in significantly more hospitalizations, more deaths.
Sure.
And the more use of the ICU. It's like 60% more with the variants, and more than half the cases now are variant cases. So the healthcare professionals are sounding the alarm while the politicians blunder ahead, appealing to public opinion. Basically, that's what they're doing. They're appealing to public opinion and ignoring the opinion of the medical professionals.
So according to the City of Toronto website, current as of now, 51 hospitalized in ICU right now. What do you think about that?
Well, it's getting worse, and it's getting to the crisis point.
And it's up 1 since the day before.
Well, the numbers have been climbing steadily now for 4 weeks. Since actually from the end of February, middle of February, the numbers have been climbing on a regular basis.
So that's 51 in ICU. There's 281 that are currently hospitalized and 21 on ventilators, and that's also up 1. Currently hospitalized is up 11 from the day before.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. It's getting worse.
There's got to be news about the vaccine rollout. What's going on with that? You got any info?
Well, yeah.
What do you got for me?
And that's bad news too, really. I mean, they're now registering the 70 plus group. So I could register for vaccine if I wanted. They managed to get 71% of the 80 plus group done, but that was because a lot of them are living in an extended care facility, so they had the accessibility. Canada's way behind, and we're still short vaccines, and we're light years behind U.S., UK, and Israel, which are the countries which have the best vaccination rates. And we're still having problems getting the vaccines.
I think the closest star next to our sun is 2.4 light years away. That's the distance between UK and Canada right now. What do you think as far as this is the first time? This is uncharted waters.
The conclusion, just before you ask your question, the conclusion to be made is that we're not going to reach herd immunity by September. It ain't going to happen.
Sure.
Strategy's flawed. Anyways, go ahead, ask your question.
You railroaded me, buddy. I can't remember. It was it was nothing. It was nothing important, I'm sure. Well, I'll drink to that. Me too. So there's nothing. So what's to be happy about these days? How are you finding? Do you have any happiness going on?
No fun.
No fun, but you're happy.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just surviving. I just came out of hibernation, I guess.
Coming on to Neighborhood. Oh, I've been with you all winter long. We've been rocking out. Don't give me that.
Well, we've been hibernating a bit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's not normal.
I kind of like that downtime.
I guess.
Let's look at that city, man. It's not a nice one in Toronto today.
Beautiful view, though.
Oh, the view's always good. So this is your thing. You know what? The view's beautiful, but it's not extraordinary right now because there's no sun.
How about the hawks on the roof? Are the hawks still there?
We got hawks here on Neighborhood TV, guys.
100 feet from the door.
Probably they're not too far away.
Falcons.
They're flying back and forth, and they've oftentimes they have mice in their clutches. And I think they've probably got some babies up there.
Definitely.
What do you call baby hawks?
Baby hawks. Good question. Cocks.
Child hawk, cocks.
Cocks.
You heard it first here. If anybody knows the answer to that, please leave it in the chat. We'd love to know. So we're here this is the question I was going to ask. We're here in uncharted territory right now, never having to roll out vaccines like this. I'm sure people can appreciate the logistical efforts that go around it. So
let's make a forecast.
Okay. So with that in mind, how are they doing on the rollout, considering that this hasn't been done like this before?
What's the thing to realize about the rollout is it's losing. The vaccination campaign is losing to the coronavirus. It's not working the way it's supposed to work. The coronavirus cases are multiplying exponentially from the variants now.
Yep.
Now, if that continues, we're going to have a full-fledged epidemic, and they're going to have to shut everything down again. And that could very well happen. I'm talking about a week or two.
Stay tuned, guys.
Meanwhile, if it ebbs, then we'll still be floundering. If it ebbs and the case count starts to decline again, everybody can breathe a big sigh of relief, and we'll go ahead opening everything wide open. Everything will be wide open.
All right. I'm going to breathe a big sigh of relief now.
The corona cases will keep coming. The vaccines are not going to eliminate corona, and they're not going to give us immunity.
You heard it here with my neighbor Dale. What do you say we take a quick break and come back? You're sticking around.
Yeah, I got an interesting story to tell about another related corona story from below the border, south of the border.
Of the Neighborhood TV execs, did you pass this off to them for their review? Is this hot? Is this hot news?
This is straight up from this morning.
Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back. This is my neighbor Dale on Neighborhood TV.
Cheers.
Cheers somewhere. This guy, he's been in the can for the entire break. Again, a little bit of crackle. Give us a second. All right, well, we're back, ready to go. This guy's looking over the notes, looking over the arsenal.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting things there.
Well, we're back. This is my neighbor Dale on Neighborhood TV.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Well, where's my cup? My cup. These guys are gonna have to bring it for me. Let me grab that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm making a lot of noise today. Making a lot of noise today. All right. Cheers to that. Cheers to you. Oh,
Cheers to you.
Never enough cheers, guys. So what do we got for round two?
Couple of interesting tidbits from this week.
Couple tids.
First of all, the AstraZeneca, which is one of the vaccines that's been endorsed in Canada.
Oh yeah.
It was called out by the U.S. regulatory agency, NIAID, for cherry picking the data published to defend their vaccine. It turns out that the efficacy rating was only 76%, and not the 79% originally claimed.
Sure.
So it's a bit embarrassing for AstraZeneca, which, by the way, the American government has not yet endorsed, but it has been approved in Canada and Ontario. And don't forget, though, that these vaccines, all of them, have only been approved for emergency use. They haven't been licensed as a normal process.
Sure.
Because normally, you got to remember that normally for a new vaccine, it takes 5 or 6 years. It involves all sorts of trials that never took place this time around.
Sure. So when did they start developing these current vaccines? I know a lot of people, their issue is that how could they have come up with something so
they
quickly?
were working on the. There's two different types here. There's the ones that are where they take the AstraZeneca and the Johnson and Johnson. They take a dead virus and stick it in your blood.
So it's the old school kind of vaccine.
Right. But then there's the new mRNA messenger mRNA.
mRNA. You know what RNA stands for?
Nucleic
deoxyribonucleic acid. Let's look that up. I don't think I'm getting the syllables right. Deoxyribonucleic, right? Ribonucleic acid, RNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid is DNA, the building blocks of you and I.
Some people claim
what do they claim?
The mRNA vaccines modify your genes.
Sure.
Although they denied it.
Well, you know what? Since COVID, I've gained some weight, right? So I need to actually go and get my genes modified. Got to go to the tailor.
Suit yourself.
Well, I am. That's the point, right? You think I should buy a suit? I'm just trying to. I don't even know if my suits fit.
You're looking pretty slim.
I'm looking pretty well. I've started again. You know what? Just like the ebbs and flows of the season, my weight tends to fluctuate depending on winter.
Well, it's normal. You know, we don't get out much in the winter, especially when all the pools and gyms are closed. What are you going to do?
Get on that bike.
Ride your bike.
Go for a jog. Well, the pits in Bloorcourt is a beautiful place, obviously. I had never seen it more full than last Saturday. So last Saturday at 12:01 a.m. is when they opened Toronto as far, what are we called now? Modified gray.
Modified gray.
So it was remarkable to see Christie Pitts and how many people were there. More people than I've seen even pre-pandemic times. It did get busy last summer, but I guess we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, I think that's why they loosened the lockdown in gray areas because
The weather forecast.
because the weather forecast, yeah. and there was
Well,
like cabin fever. You know, the millennials are suffering cabin fever, and because they've been cooped up. It's not like the boomers who have nice big houses, you know.
Yeah, but not everybody who lives down here in these small places are millennials. I'm sure. What's the age range of people living in condos in Toronto?
I'm just assuming that most of those people you're referring to that were in the Christie Pitts,
The demographic was what's
millennial, younger people.
Yeah, sure. Millennial. Millennials. People my age, closer to my age.
Well, it speaks to their status of life in this society.
Oh no, definitely.
Which the millennials, most of them don't have a pot to piss in, and aren't about to get one anytime soon.
It's too bad. Life's pretty hard. It's with real estate prices being as high as they are.
The Canadian government and the Bank of Canada sparked this real estate boom by, did it on purpose this March by flooding the markets with money and lowering interest rates and everything else.
What we're in now, though, is a reflection of what happened with the subprime mortgage crisis in the United States in 2008 and 2009. That's when interest rates started going down. We're still dealing with that, right? They haven't come up since they got lowered
but don't forget,
13 years ago.
In 2017, they took measures to cool the real estate markets.
Really? Where? In maybe in Vancouver,
Yeah,
but not here.
They tightened up. No, they tightened up the mortgage regulations.
Okay.
And,
But that was just putting stress tests on people who
that's significant. I'm telling you, that significantly cooled the real estate market in Canada for a couple years.
So instead of it going up like this, it only went up like this.
But this March, since this March, it's been like straight up.
Well, absolutely.
They lowered the bank rate to 0.25%. They started buying $4 billion a week in government bonds. They started buying mortgage bonds. And they were printing, hundreds of billions a year.
Hundreds of billions.
And they caused this real estate boom, which is impoverishing the millennials, and a lot of other people, a lot of other tenants are being impoverished by it as well.
I'm going to look more into that. Thank you for pointing me in that direction.
But interestingly enough, as we've discussed before, the pandemic has helped the tenants and the poor people in Toronto by causing vacancy rates to go up and the rents to go down.
Would you call this a renter's paradise right now?
It's no renter's paradise.
You think we're going to get to that level?
Well, it could be. It could be if the proper measures were taken.
Do you think organically it's going to go back to that just because of the effects of the current pandemic, not necessarily intervention by government or anyone else?
If this pandemic worsens, okay, as we discussed earlier, they're going to have to close the airports down completely, seal off the borders, and there'll be even less people coming in, potential tenants or home buyers coming into the country, which again will lower the rents, produce more vacancies, and all that's good for tenants.
We look pretty cool on that screen. Can you see us in the monitor up there?
Yeah. We're going good today.
We're going great. You feel like doing some overtime?
Yeah, I got one more good.
All right. Let's take a quick break. You guys, look at the city. Recharge yourself. You can take a bathroom break if you want. Don't fall asleep in there, though. We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah?
All right. Well, we're doing our best here. A little bit of static on the mic. Let's see if a quick cheers will take care of that. Let's raise a glass to the city. Cheers, pal.
Cheers.
We're doing a little bit of overtime today. How you doing, pal? How you feeling?
Feeling good.
Feeling any happier?
Got a little, oh, yeah.
Having some fun?
Much better. This is fun. I always like
Talking to
Neighborhood TV's fun.
talking to the people. And I really like how we don't always see eye to eye, yet we discuss, we're friendly, we're pals, and at the end of the day, we're going home together. Hey, don't get any ideas. Not that kind of way. He likes
Well,
when
I got this hot off the press today.
hot off the press. What do you got?
Latest COVID news item here.
What is it?
The former CDC in the U.S., the Center for Disease Control Director Robert Redfield, a Trump appointee, by the way. He's no
Yep.
longer the director.
Yep.
He's stated now that he thinks COVID-19 escaped from a vaccine lab in Wuhan. It did not come from the Wuhan wet market,
No way.
and that it was would have been as a result of negligence on behalf of the people running the lab. He doesn't say if he thought it was intentional or not.
So what's he got? What kind of
Well,
information?
no
is he...
evidence, but
Oh,
the interesting thing is
why are these news thing claims? They're all so exciting, but they never come with evidence. I'm open-minded here, man, and I'm trying to understand reality. And these guys come up with these things with no evidence.
well, the irony is that CNN, which of course, as you know, hated Trump, they're having him on their show on Sunday night.
Fox News had
where
Bernie on,
where
though.
he's going to make this about this allegation. He's going to make this allegation, but Dr. Fauci has already had to do some damage control, and he's already stated that the opinion of most experts in the community is that it didn't escape from the lab.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that one.
So do you think with Redfield there's any sort of conflict of interest because he's Trump's former appointee and now we have a new administration?
I just think it points to the new Cold War that's developing between the U.S. and China. It's just the fact that CNN would promote, would promote this sort of view.
I don't watch CNN. I only watch Neighborhood TV,
Well,
dude.
anyways, they're obviously giving the guy a platform, right? So that puts more pressure on the Biden government.
Fox
to,
News did the
in
same
turn
thing.
Put more pressure on China, So we're headed down the road for a Cold War with China, and this is just more fuel for the fire.
Yeah, it's already happening. Well, you know what? If you happen to come to Bloorcourt, we love to get along, and we're a peaceful people, and don't have any Cold War with us. Obviously, the effects of a geopolitical Cold War has effects on neighborhoods. But sometimes I got to just turn down that noise. There's just so much things we can do as individuals, getting wrapped up in that stuff sometimes. I don't even know. I remember when James Clapper would go on and he'd be critical of Trump when he was, I don't know if he was Obama's appointee or if W. Bush appointed him. However,
Well,
people would dismiss him in the same way.
it's part of the deep state for sure. Question about it.
Oh, the deep state. Wear your life jacket if you go there. So
But tell me, did you hear any noise last night coming from Bloor Street or Carling?
Bloor, I slept like a baby last night. How about you?
No, I heard some noise, but it was later on. It was around 12:30.
Really?
I think aren't the bars supposed to close at 10:30?
I'm not sure. What was the noise? Did you look out the window?
No, I was too lazy.
See, you're like Redfield. Give us some evidence. No, I did not. Honestly,
It wasn't enough noise so I couldn't sleep through it. So I kept sleeping through it. I mean,
well, who knows? It could have been a beaver. These guys are taking the TTC now. Did it sound like there was some slapping?
well, that's a slight exaggeration now. Taking the TDC.
Have you ever gone on and seen? I've ridden subways with pigeons who get on and get off.
Well, I've entered that station at that door before, and that's a long walk for the beaver. That's all I can say. He must have come from Mimico Creek near your old stomping ground there.
My old stomping
Etobicoke
grounds.
Collegiate.
I'm a suburban child growing up in the former city of Etobicoke and Mississauga as well. Malton and Etobicoke, my two favorite spots. Great spot. So it's overtime right now. Sudden death. What you got?
Well, next week, our next show should be a real estate report.
So you up for doing? We haven't done a real estate report in quite some time.
Unless of course, if so, let's make a pact here. If A, on the one hand,
Ooh.
the
Packed.
coronavirus gets worse, right? The pandemic gets worse, and the case count goes through the roof. And we'll have another show on next week on the coronavirus. Otherwise, we'll wait for a couple of weeks and we'll do one on the real estate rental report
All right.
downtown, based on this. We'll get the first quarter stats
First quarter stats. All right.
at the end of next week. So in 2 weeks, we should have enough information to have an interesting show to see how if the collapse of the rents continuing.
And as well with everybody that is going out to bars, patios, weather permitting right now, of course, we'll see if there's any spikes.
Thanks for the show.
So it'll be
Ron.
telltale. Thanks, buddy. Dude, come on.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Thank you.
Next time.
All right. So we'll see you guys back here next Saturday. And don't forget, man, there's a full moon tomorrow night.
You better come over here tomorrow night.
All right. We're going to be up at the studio. You heard it here first from my neighbor Dale. We're going to be having an episode of the Full Moon Chasers. And as I always like to say,
provided it's
provided it's clear, I'll be up here anyways.
okay.
I say we make another pact that we'll be here regardless. Because we'll be able, what do you say?
I'll reserve my bet on that one.
Well, you know what?
I'll
The
hedge
control.
my
I can
bet
see the control room looking down right now. If
Okay.
they like having people who are enthusiastic about working here. I'd hate from the fire either of us.
Well, I'll be here. I'll tell you what. I'll make you an agreement if the moon's shining, I'll be here.
Oh, the moon always shines. It's always facing the sun. No, it's not always facing the sun. Let's be real.
Shine on, shine on,
Shine
harvest
on.
moon. Anyways,
There you go. All right. We're going to have to get this guy singing some more future episodes. I always like to say, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's my promise to you. You want to make another pact?
another pact?
Yeah.
Sure.
Treat others the way you want to be treated. We both do that, right?
Of course.
My neighbor Dale, get out of here. I don't want to see you. Just joking. Love you, buddy. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Maybe one of us. Let's pray that the moon is shining. And with that,
show, man.
and with that last sip, we're done.
Damn good show.
That was a damn good show. We'll see you guys next Saturday. My neighbor Dale.
We've been calling it on the pandemic, haven't we? We've been calling it.